QwertyKeys has been on an absolute roll, quite literally redefining the definition of the budget market since they burst onto the scene literally at the start of this year. First was the 65, then 60, and now 75, with this one being the most expensive out of the three. So how does it hold up, especially next to a higher end 75? Now, I've been seeing a lot of buzz about how this thing is designed really well for a plateless setup, which for me is amazing news because you know how much I love a clacky keyboard. I'm gonna see how closely I can match the sound of my TGR Jane ME just within the first day of tinkering with this keyboard. Holy fuck. Sound-wise, it's actually really close to the profile that I enjoy. It's a little bit quiet at the moment, but I'll get to a solution for that in a little bit. Feel-wise, because I've built it plateless, it's a little bit too bouncy for me. I mean, like, what do you expect? But it's almost to the point where it's like a little bit too unsteady. So what I've done is I've just rebuilt it with the polycarbonate plate just so I can add a little bit more stability to it. Now what I've got here is a mode Sonnet in exactly the same color spec as my QK75. If you've never heard of this board, it's another 75%, which I would probably say is like the higher end counterpart of the QK75. Of course, there are heaps of visual differences between the two, but what we can compare is the finishing quality of these. What I mean by this is the feel of the anodization as well as the design intent of the board. We're proper nitpicking right now, but the Sonnet is actually slightly rougher to the touch, but the layout proportions, the curves and weights feel a little bit more intentional. For example, this cutout where the arrow keys are feels a little bit rushed, but honestly, these are so minute and subjective that it like barely matters. The anodization of the QK75 is kind of crazy, considering the price. I really want to show you guys this switch that I've been tinkering with for a little bit. I get sent a fair few switches to try out in my keyboards, and while I do like how some of them feel, nothing compares to a good cherry switch in my opinion. Something about like the scratch and the sound. Actually, hang on a second. I'm not really quite sure how to illustrate this in a video, but this is probably the best I can come up with. That's a cherry switch, and this is a gator arm. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's something about the plastic composition of a cherry switch that just sounds a little bit more robust to me. It's just like, I don't want to say high quality, it just has a different feeling. So why in the world am I going on about switches in a video about a QK75? Well, when I chatted to Ansel during my Rama duck switch video, he explained to me how a long pole stem affects the sound of a keyboard, usually resulting in something louder and clackier. Cherry don't have a long pole option, but the famed Novel Keys Cream is a long pole scratchy switch. So I hit up my friends at KBD Fans who sent me a whole bunch of NK creams. I got to work swapping the stems out, and this absolute beauty of a switch is the result. This is my solution. Oh, it's definitely been done before. What am I saying? My solution. But my solution to a long pole cherry stem. So let's see how it goes in the QK75. Yeah, right. I mean, come on. This sounds incredible. I feel like it sounds so much more lively with this switch, just like a bit more poppy and responsive. Before I forget though, here are the specs of the switch somewhere on the screen. I think it's pretty obvious, but I should probably say that these are just my opinions. If you're on the keyboard journey at the moment, please do try and tinker. I've probably done my weird Franken switch in the most inefficient way possible, but hey, I mean, I'm pretty happy with the result. The group buy for this is still running. I think you have just under a week to grab it if you're still keen. Let me know what you guys think of this style of video. I'm trying to experiment with my content style a little bit so that it's a bit more sustainable and I can produce more without dropping the quality too much. Thank you so much for watching. I will leave you with the comparison between this and the chain as promised at the start. So yeah, see you soon.